Hi, I'm Saida Garrett, co-writer of Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mr. Mark Tara.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the persons appearing on the program.
Today on Rainbow Country, Donna Summer, I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored. A special 2-hour episode. So stay tuned for Gay Talk Radio right here on Rainbow Country.
Hi, this is Emily Saliers from Indigo Girls.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Harder, porn star, burlesque performer, and the creator of Porn to Be a Star. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Well, hello and welcome to a brand new journey through Rainbow Country. As I like to call it, a little gay radio show working to give voice to the LGBT community and beyond. And as always, I am your tour guide through Rainbow Country. I'm producer and host, Mark Tara. By the way, Rainbow Country originates from CIUT-FM in Toronto, the sound of your city, and now proudly in syndication on 11 outlets across Canada. So whether you're listening in the Yukon, British Columbia, the Prairies, the East Coast of Canada in the Maritimes, Ontario, even down to Buffalo, New York, and online. Well, thanks to you tuning in, streaming, downloading, but ultimately listening. Together, we continue to build Rainbow Country into a nationally syndicated gay radio show, a #1 LGBT podcast on Podomatic.com's Gay and Lesbian chart, as well as being recognized as Canada's #2 LGBT podcast on Feedspot.com. So she has sold well over 100 million albums worldwide. She's received a number of awards, including 5 Grammy wins in 4 distinct categories: R&B, rock, inspirational, and dance. One of her most iconic songs, Last Dance, received the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1979. Plus, in 2013, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Today, Donna Summer, I'm a Rainbow, an album originally recorded in 1981 for Geffen Records. The record was originally shelved back in the early 80s by Geffen Records, but then was eventually released on CD in 1996 on Mercury Records. In 2021, 10 of the original 18 tracks have been reimagined, resulting in Donna Summer, I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored. So, a bit of background. Donna Summer was originally signed to Casablanca Records back in the 70s, and by the late 70s, she was growing unhappy with her recording contract, financially and artistically. By 1980, Donna was out of her Casablanca contract and signed to a newly formed Geffen Records. And actually, Donna was the very first artist signed to David Geffen's Geffen Records. Her first album for Geffen Records was 1980's top 20 gold-selling album, The Wanderer. The follow-up to 1980's The Wanderer would have been 1981's I'm a Rainbow. Donna's creative team, producer Georgia Moroder, Pete Bellotti, a slew of musicians including her husband, Bruce Sedano, they were all on board. The resulting original album consisted of 18 tracks. However, Geffen Records was not on board. The album was shelved. Geffen Records then paired Donna with legendary producer Quincy Jones, resulting in 1982's top 20 self-titled album, Donna Summer. It wouldn't be until 1996 when I'm a Rainbow would see the light of day through Mercury Records. Mind you, back in the 80s, some tracks did end up coming out. 2 ended up on movie soundtracks. The track Romeo was on Flashdance, as well as the song Highway Runner ended up on the soundtrack to Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Plus, let's not forget, there were some covers. Most notably, Amy Stewart. Remember her with her huge disco hit, Knock on Wood? She recorded 2 tracks from I'm a Rainbow, Sweet Emotion and You to Me, as well as Frida from ABBA, covered and released as a single, To Turn the Stone. So, now that we have a little bit of background, here is what's coming up over the next 2 hours. We'll hear from DJ, remixer, producer, and artist, Ladies on Mars, who's remixed a number of tracks on 2021's I'm a Rainbow. So, as you may know, Donna passed away on May 17th, 2012, from lung cancer. That being said, we will hear from the Q of D, the First Lady of Love, the Queen of Disco herself. But when I return, I'll be joined by Michael Needus, Global Commercial Manager for Demon Music Group Limited, who has released I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored.
Hi, everybody. This is Gino Vanelli. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
Michael Needus, hi, how are you?
I'm good, Mark. Thank you very much for asking me on your show today.
Well, thank you for being here to have your voice, your story be heard by the LGBT community and beyond. So thank you for that, especially to talk about Donna Summer's I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored. This is the latest record from Donna Summer or the Donna Summer Estate. So a little bit of a background. She passed away on May 17th, 2012 from lung cancer. So let's start here. I'm a Rainbow, 2021's I'm a Rainbow. Whose idea was it to put this record out, to reproduce it, remix it, and re-release it? Whose idea was it to do that?
Without sounding me, what we do as a catalog marketing record company, when we're looking at all of our artists' legacy and how we can bring it to a new generation and seeing what else we can do, it was part of the reissue program that we started looking at when we first started discussing with Donna when she was still here and Bruce about what we could do with this later part of the catalog that was largely underappreciated, in as much when people were comparing it to the Casablanca period. So we always were looking at various anniversaries of what we could do over certain times and how we can bring it to today's market and just update things, not necessarily make them better because you can't improve on the original, but how we can then just make it accessible for people to go back and revisit her entire catalogue. And this particular album came out of an idea. I was on vacation in Los Angeles, and whenever I'm away, I try to meet up with the estate. And we just talk about plans for the future. And about 2017, 2018, we were talking about the plans for the next 2 or 3 years. And we knew that in 2019, we had the 30th anniversary of Another Place and Time. Then in 2020, we had the 40th anniversary of The Wanderer, which is where the genesis of taking a few tracks and updating those, reimagining those, really start to take place. And of course, we knew in 2021, we had the 40th anniversary of I'm a Rainbow when it was supposed to be released, but it also coincided with the 25th anniversary when it eventually did come out. So what I suggested to Bruce Sedano was, how would he feel if we took a selection of tracks from the album? So we reduced it down to maybe 10 tracks, but remix the entire album so we can see the strength of those songs, but have a thread running right the way through it. And to make it, as I said, more accessible, but to give it that up-to-date feel, but involving a lot of different remix producers from around the world, from different continents. And that was where the whole thing started. And this is what, over the last couple of years, we've been able to get to that point.
So you mentioned that you met with Donna, and my understanding is you guys met over lunch or something. What prompted that initial meeting, that face-to-face meeting? Was there talks on Demon Music Group doing this back then?
Yes, it was. At the time, about 2009, 2010, there was still the compilation, the various artists, TV advertised collections was still very, very big business, especially in CD. This is really before download and streaming really started to take off. And the one thing I noticed was that whenever you saw a compilation of 80s material, that Donna was conspicuous by her absence. You didn't get many compilations that had This Time I Know It's For Real, which was a top 3 UK hit and part of that Stock Aitken Waterman produced album from 1989. You rarely saw Lovers in Control. You rarely saw Dinner with Gershwin. Mm-hmm. You rarely saw State of Independence. So I thought, well, there's got to be something wrong, because we knew that it was part of a different deal. And it was after she'd left Casablanca. So I started looking into it, and then just put an email out to her attorney just to see what the situation was, and if they had any arrangements in place, and if not, was it something they'd be interested in discussing with us? So that was in early 2010, and we opened a dialogue, and then I think Donna and Bruce were coming over to the UK for a private event. So it was arranged that we meet up and just discuss this possibility. You know, we know it was just, we thought, well, at least give us a chance. You know, we never know what's going to happen with these things sometimes, but it was worth the opportunity to at least show what we wanted to do, explain how we could make it work in the UK and into Europe, and just take it from there. And that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. Of course, a year or so later, Donna passed away. Mm-hmm. So everything was in abeyance until all the formalities were able to be sorted out. Mm-hmm. And then we were approached if we were still interested, which we were. And we eventually started working with the catalogue in the middle of 2014.
And here we are in 2021.
And here we are in 2021. And I just don't know where those years have gone, even though these 7 years. And I'm very much aware that we're barely 6-7 months away from the 10th anniversary of Donna's passing, and I just don't know where that time has gone.
So you are the global commercial manager for Demon Music Group Limited. So global commercial manager, talk to me about what that is and what that entails.
I suppose because we have varying rights, for me, there's some just the domestic or various multiple territories or even worldwide. When we work with certain catalogs and certain artists, it's how we can develop reissues and working with partners internationally to be able to get the best out of the catalog. And as we've seen, there seems to be a lot of interest as people are rediscovering music from the past, or a younger generation being excited by discovering for the first time. So the commercial side of it is really how we look after rights management and then product management for actually putting the projects together and how we can get it out there and we can make it available and how we can get people interested in hearing it or he's talking about it. And I'm just one part of an organization. So, there are many, many moving parts that make these things work. And I'm just one of them.
So my understanding is that this really all started for you back in the day, getting your career started when you answered an ad in a newspaper and you landed a job at Polydor Records. Is that correct?
Wow, your researcher, or you, are absolutely incredible. That is it. That is absolutely right.
And so that started your journey on this road that you're on. And now you're with Demon Music Group. And how long have you been with Demon Music Group?
24 years and a few months.
Sorry, say that again.
24 years and 3 months.
24 years and 3 months. Nobody's counting.
Nobody's counting, but
so why did you want to get into the world of entertainment in the first place?
Very simply, I loved music from a kid. I was always exposed to music from a very young age. I had 2 older cousins, 5 and 8 years older than me, and we were really close as kids, and we lived opposite each other. So if my mum was out or whatever, they'd always look after me, and I'd go over to them, or I'd just hear music that they were playing. And being 5 and 8 years older than me, I'd be exposed to music that was that much older than me. So when you're 2 and 3 and they're 7 and 8 or 11 and 12, you get to hear a very disparate type of music. So I always had music around me when I was growing up. At home, we had the radio on. My parents used to let me put singles on the record player. And somehow I knew what the records were. I couldn't read, but it was the different color record labels. And the problem was, if I had 2 or 3 singles by the same artist that I liked, then the little squiggle was one title and the longer squiggle was a different title. And it was just really, I was interested. I was fascinated with music. I have to say I'm completely talentless in terms of playing and production and anything that is really meaningful for it. Mm-hmm. But it was something I just always loved and always took with me. And as I got older, into my early teens, was I more interested in soccer or music? And it was a bit of both. I'd go to a lot of soccer and football matches, but music was starting to really take and play a really big part in my social activity and my personal well-being. I just love listening to music all the time, all different types. But I suppose back in the early mid 70s, when I was still quite young, I just happened to like this happy sound, which became soul and disco. And I didn't know that disco really came from the underground, and coming out of an economic downturn where it was the only way of escapism. I didn't have a clue. I was a kid. I just loved the sound of what I could hear, the rhythm, the groove, the guitars, the drums, the hi-hats. When you hear some of those, you think they're just so overplayed. But it was just really on that basis. But I still had a really eclectic taste in music, and never, things I'd appreciate but not necessarily like. And then I had a lot of favourite artists whose music I loved, but I didn't like all of their tracks. You can't love everything, and you've got to be honest. If you don't like everything, you got to say that.
Yeah.
But I had that. I was working for a company, and they were going to be relocating to a different part of the UK, and I could have stayed with a different division in London. But I thought, well, it was my first job from school, and I thought, well, that was just something really unique and different, and I don't want to not be with the same people I was working with, so I may as well just look for a job elsewhere. And the small ad in the paper, and it was at Polydor. So I applied, and I was successful.
You sure were. Is Polydor still around today?
It's a label within the massive Universal Music Group. It's just one small part of that incredible company.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Tewksbury, Olympic champion, leader, humanitarian. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
So, Demon Music Group has the rights to a number of Donna Summer albums, the ones 1980 onward. So, what albums are those? It's The Wanderer, now I'm a Rainbow, the self-titled Donna Summer album.
Yes.
She Works Hard for the Money. Is that included?
No, that's Mercury, because after Donna appeared on the Flashdance soundtrack, by all accounts, it was remembered that she owed them a contractual album. So that was You Sure It's Hard for the Money was that album that she then recorded for Mercury, Polygram at the time. I think it was produced by Michael Amartian. So that was the album that's with Universal. But then the next one was Cats Without Claws in '84. Then 87 was All Systems Go. 89, Another Place and Time. Then when it did come out, the next one was Mistaken Identity in 91. And then when it did come out in 1996, I'm a Rainbow.
Mm. And what about Crayons?
That's Sony.
Okay.
That was 2008 from Sony.
Okay. And what about what is it, Christmas Spirit?
That was also Universal.
Okay. And what about the singles? Singles like I Got Your Love and To Paris with Love. Like, do you guys have the rights to those as well?
Oh, we do with specific licenses, because that's co-owned with Bruce Roberts. Well, To Paris with Love is co-owned with Bruce Roberts, I believe. I'd have to check, but we have license. I Got Your Love, and I can't think where we got that from, but we have to have a different license for utilising that recording.
I'm a Rainbow, originally recorded in 1981 on Geffen Records. It was shelved back then. In 1996, it was released on, I believe, Mercury Records on CD. The original recording had 18 tracks on it. This release, 2021's I'm a Rainbow, has 10. How did you guys decide what songs would make it onto this new version?
Really difficult, because you're always going to upset some people by not having all their favorites, because you can't please everyone, but you want to try and make something that actually does work. And the main thought process behind this album was to have a start, middle and an end. It needed to work digitally, so if you're listening to an album in sequence on CD or stream, and as an LP, it had to work with a side break where you've got a good end of side one, and it would work as a good side two, but without changing the running order on the alternate formats. And there were certain tracks that you just knew had to be retained on the album. That was Romeo, because it was the biggest non-single release from Flashdance. How could you ignore that? Mm-hmm. Then didn't
that soundtrack take Michael Jackson's Thriller off the charts? The soundtrack to Flashdance.
I believe you could be right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just a phenomenon. Absolute, incredible soundtrack, and some great songs on there. But looking at I'm a Rainbow, one of the songs I absolutely adore is True Love Survives, and that was one of the first tracks that I thought it's got to be on there. Just couldn't make it work in what we're trying to achieve as well.
Really, Michael Needus, you couldn't make that sucker work?
No. Well, because we didn't. In as much as which other tracks do we take off? I mean, Bruce came up with a great suggestion at the end with "Leave Me Alone." He said, because the lyrics are so relevant today, and it's really powerful, And he was right. He was absolutely right. There's Melanie. People love Melanie. People talk. Runner with the Pack. Highway Runner was a film soundtrack. It was on Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But out of all of them as well, what the new album or the reimagined album has shown is how great the actual songs are. Forget recordings, the actual songs, because they still stand up today, and that shows how great those songwriters were. Keith Forsey, Harold Faltermeyer, Georgia, Pete, Donna. Even her take on "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." I mean, look at that live performance at in the hot summer night in 1983. They're just great songs. They are just great songs.
So there are a number of producers on I'm a Rainbow. There's LaFlex, there's Oliver Nelson, Figo Sound, Ladies on Mars, who I'll be chatting with later, as well as Junior Vasquez, who's worked with Madonna, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson. So here's a question. The tracks that those people worked on, what did they get? Did they get an a cappella? Did they get the individual tracks, the stems? Talk to me about what the producers got.
We provided we provided them with everything, and they remolded and recreated what they needed to do to get the different sounds they wanted, and they were selected because of their own various expertise in certain styles of music. You've mentioned Ladies on Mars. I only came across him early 2020. I was just looking some stuff on the internet and on YouTube, and I found a reworking of Donna's Need a Man Blues, which was one of her earlier album tracks. He'd done a reworking called Need a Blues Man. And he'd just taken the track and just given it a hybrid disco and new disco feel to it. And I just thought, this sounds really good. So I just started looking at what else he'd been working on. And I thought, crikey, he could be really good for a few tracks for the up-tempo tracks for the reimagined I'm a Rainbow. So I looked at different producers for different styles because of what they had done, but also what they could bring, but also retaining the authenticity of the original recording. And having worked with LaFlex and Figo Sound in Italy before on The Wanderer, I knew that there were certain tracks that they would be absolutely perfect to do if they felt comfortable enough to do it. Because the beauty about working with these handful of really talented producers is that they won't just do it just for the sake of it. There's got to be a reason, and they've got to feel they can add value to it and make it authentic. They won't just do it because it's a job. And that way, they're putting their heart and soul into it. And that was really important to the process for this project.
So Giorgio Moroder, he originally produced the 1981 I'm a Rainbow, at least the versions that were released in 96. Was there ever any talk at all of having Giorgio Moroder be part of this project?
No, there hadn't been. Giorgio has his own life and career and what he does, and sometimes if you want to revisit and bring it forward, you need to take it forward, but still, as I said, retaining that originality with it. The album was co-produced by Giorgio and Pete Bellotti, but Pete we're quite close with. He's always been very helpful and imparting pearls of wisdom, anecdotes, the history behind certain recordings, what happened in the studio, and he's been a wonderful supporter for what we've done. Giorgio, we licensed some tracks directly from him for the Encore box set that we released in early 2020, which was this big box set with all of her albums in one box, plus some extra CDs with other remixes and mixes and singles and non-album tracks on there. So the idea was to just work with these new producers on this project.
Okay, so ABBA recently released a new record of theirs, Voyage, their first one in what, like 40 years? And I think they were just recently nominated for their first ever Grammy. That's crazy to think of. Okay, but Frida, who's one of the singers in ABBA, released a solo album in 1982 called Something's Going On, produced by Phil Collins. And on that album, she does a version of To Turn the Stone, which was a single on Frida's solo album. The original version of that song is on Donna's original version of I'm a Rainbow that was done in 81. But it's not in this new version, 2021's I'm a Rainbow. Why wasn't To Turn the Stone not in this new I'm a Rainbow?
We wanted to keep it as a single album, single LP, for the main part. I suppose in the past, I love an album. I'm old-fashioned in some respects. I love an album. If it's a brand new album, you need to connect with it. And it's very difficult to connect with a brand new album with 15, 16 tracks. I like 9 or 10 tracks when that's how it was. As I said, trying to select 10 tracks out of 18, there were going to be songs that were going to be omitted. There are a couple that I really wanted to include, but just couldn't get it right. But it was looking at the songs that were going to, I just felt right and could be worked that way. And when I went through the listing and suggested them to Bruce, he was happy to go with the selection. You know, and he also very much has his input and suggestions. And we don't release anything without their final say-so and approval. So we don't just take something and run with it on our own. We work very closely with the estate to make sure that they're happy with the execution of what we put out in Donna's name.
Mm-hmm. So the fact that particular song, To Turn the Stone, was a single from Frida, that didn't necessarily carry any weight or anything. You just...
No, because it's Donna.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, Frida is unique, Agneta is unique, Donna is unique, Barbra Streisand is unique,
mm-hmm.
and you have to be true to that artist rather than just try and think, well, maybe ABBA's album might come out, might be good. We didn't know about ABBA's album at the time we started to work on this.
Right.
So that was the other thing. They you know, I know that they said, oh, it's coming out later in the year, but it wasn't really that much time between the announcement and when it actually was coming out. So it wasn't as if it was a build-up. Next year, there's going to be the brand new ABBA album. It's next year, there might be 1 or 2 ABBA songs that they've been talking about, but no one knew there was going to be an entire album. And these things we've been working on, as I said, for 2-3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about the artwork. Is this like artwork from 81?
No.
So how talk to me about the images that are part of this I'm a Rainbow 2021 version.
Again, discussing with Bruce, he said to me, what are we going to do on the artwork? Are you planning to use the artwork from the original album? And I said, no, because when the album did come out, it was a photo from a different period anyway. I said, I'd want to do something different, something special. What have you got in the archive that you have, and you have the rights for us to be able to use, that you would like to see? So he just sent me some very low-res versions of 5 or 6 photographs. And I went, oh my God, they're just amazing. He goes, slow down, you can't have them all. I went, okay, well, how many? He goes, what do you need? I went, well, 4 would be great if we can, but yeah, that's fantastic. So they selected the ones they felt were going to be best. I said that I'd like this one for a front cover if the quality is good enough. And then we looked at it, and then he went off with the family and looked at them, and then they said, right, you can have these 4 photos for the artwork. Can you make it work? I said, we'll make it work.
And so those are authentic, original photos then?
Yes, they are.
That no one has ever seen before. And she's just wearing a rainbow-colored hat for
Yeah, or a bow. I'm just looking at the LP myself now. I don't know if it was a multitude of feather boas just all woven together, or if it's just single individual ones that have just been placed around. I don't know, but it was just something so visually stunning that we thought, yeah, it's an album cover.
And do you know when they were taken? Is there any backstory? Do you know of?
All I know is they were taken around that time.
They were taken around that time.
Yeah, about 80, 81.
Because they're amazing. I love them.
They are just simply beautiful. I'm looking at the front cover of the LP myself right now.
And you said it is an album cover. Do you know who took it?
Harry Langdon.
Well done, Harry Langdon. He has a great YouTube channel with some great Donna Summer stories, taking some of the some iconic photos that ended up being album covers. Do you think, because you are in touch with Bruce Sedano, who is Donna's husband, and the estate, are there plans to release any new material over the next little while? Do you know of anything?
They're looking to see what there was. I mean, I suppose back in the 70s, as Pete Bellotti has said time and time again, we only recorded what we wrote, and we only wrote what we needed. There weren't this plethora of unreleased tracks that are just sitting in archives. That tended to happen for a lot of artists mid-80s onwards, where they'd always record. So yes, there probably are songs available. Well, not available, but there are songs that probably have been recorded. A lot of Donna's fans know of many recordings that have been made or been leaked or been heard, but they're all owned by different companies at the time. And for various reasons, they weren't released. If something says do not use, it means do not use in 30 years. It means do not use full stop. They've got to get artist, or in this case, the estate, permission. They might need the producer. They might need the actual record company marketing department, who was the record company at the time they were recorded. There are so many hurdles that any company has to go through to look at unreleased material. But Bruce has been looking lately through the archive, and they're trying to find what might work from a later period. If there is stuff that's in good enough condition that they feel can be looked at, then they'll review and we'll discuss it. But until I get told anything like that, I just say, as far as I'm aware, there isn't anything, because I don't know what there could be or what there isn't.
And there's word of an official documentary. Do you know anything about that?
I know it's been in the planning stages for a couple of years, maybe longer. And Brooklyn, their daughter, their older daughter, has been working on that quite frantically, and that's probably coming to fruition in the next, I should imagine, 12 to 18 months, maybe sooner. But I haven't heard how far down the line that actually is.
And in regards to Demon Music Group, what's coming up next for you guys?
In general, or with Donna?
Both.
Well, we're always reinventing the wheel, because we're not, but we're always looking at the catalogues of the artists we represent and look after, see what more we can do with the catalogues. Let's face it, next year it's 40 years for the self-titled Donna Summer album. So we're looking at various things that might possibly be looking at that. And we're looking ahead with other artists we've been working with and their catalogues. Dead or Alive, for example, who had a big international hit with You Spin Me Round.
Mm-hmm.
They were more than just a one-hit wonder, very successful in the Far East and Japan. And we look after their later recordings. We also look after Average White Band. Leo Sayer, who's just an incredible songwriter. Probably best known for When I Need You and You Make Me Feel Like Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Which You Make Me Feel Like Dancing earned him a Grammy.
Mm.
So we look after his recordings and really going back to the early period in 1972. So there are many artists we look up to: T-Rex, Belinda Carlisle, Suede, the London Suede, Kiki D, and many other artists. And I'll probably get emails from the office when they say you've forgotten to mention this artist and that artist. But there's some great labels as well. We look after Easy Street, which was 80s, 90s dance house label. We look after Sam Records on behalf of Michael Weiss, because it was his late father's label. So we have Gary's Gang and Vicky D and Conversion and Steve Shelto and David Thurston. So you have great dance catalogue there. So there's lots of different things we're looking at as well. We have Hollandosia Holland. We look after their material. We have Brunswick. So there's many different types of recordings and a very disparate range of genres that we look after. And we have a really good team of people who are into all different styles of music and are very knowledgeable. And we work with some very respected consultants on certain things. And some consultants, when they start to speak to the artists, know more about the artist than the artist can remember themselves. But those were the heady days of being a rock star. You probably didn't remember everything.
So now that I'm a Rainbow is out, how are you feeling?
Very proud that we were given permission to revisit the album. I think everything we do when we're working, whatever we do, everything in business and everything in the industry is hard. But we have an easier job because the artists who were having those hits 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they really went through it. They're the ones who worked hard. They're the ones who have given this legacy for all record companies to now take on to next generations, to listen to discover, to enjoy. And also the art of an album. Has it been lost? Is it too much track-based now? That's how it goes. But that's why in the UK we have National Album Day. So it doesn't matter on what format an album's released, is to reintroduce people to listen to the art of an album from track one to the final track without skipping it, without changing order. Just listen to it right the way through. The artist sequenced it in this way, and there's a reason why they sequenced it in a way. And that's what they want. I think even Adele asked Spotify to remove the resequence button on the new album 30 because she said, I haven't spent all my time sequencing it for people to just listen to it in a different order.
So in closing, is there a message that you'd like to say to the Donna Summer hardcore fans out there? Is there something that maybe you, a message that you would like to pass on, Demon Music would like to pass on in regards to, her legacy and her music?
Well, as I said, we feel very privileged and very honored to be working on such great, iconic back catalogue by all of our artists. Donna, we know, has some very vocal fans, and they still want her to be seen as the queen that she actually was. She was the queen of disco. She was an amazing, unique singer. She could sing the song, the phone book. You put anything in front of her, she just had this amazing range in her voice. Everything we do with good heart. We're not just doing things just for the sake of it. We're working very closely with the estate to make sure it's right. Nothing comes out without their say-so. So we're not riding roughshod over anything. We do the best that we can. We always strive to look to do more. We strive to be better. We really appreciate the feedback. And we respect all fans' comments. You have to accept everything, good, bad, indifferent. But nothing we do is done without good heart.
Michael Nidis, well said, well done, well produced. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Donna Summer, I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored, is out now wherever you get your favorite music. And to find out more about Demon Music Group, the artists that they represent, as well as Michael Nidis, you can find them all on the website, demonmusicgroup.co.uk.
Hi, this is Police Constable Danielle Botno, also known as LGBT Cop, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Terra.
This is hour 2 of a special episode of Rainbow Country, and in this hour, we'll hear from the Queen of Disco herself. I actually have 2 short clips of Donna talking about, believe it or not, I'm a Rainbow, and her connection to Canada. But when I return, I'll be joined by DJ, remixer, producer, and artist Jonathan Douglas Braverman, a.k.a. Ladies on Mars. Ladies on Mars, hello, how are you?
Hi, Martara, how are you? I'm fine, thanks.
I have to say, Ladies on Mars, thank you for being here to have your voice, to have your story be heard by the LGBT community and beyond. So thank you for that. Let's start here with yourself. You are a remixer. You are a producer. You are a DJ. Talk to me about how you got into music originally in the first place. How did this all come about for you?
Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting me for this amazing interview. And I want to apologize if my English is not perfect because it's not my native language. So I will try to do my best. Well, when I started with the music, oh my God. I think it's a long time ago. I think was when I was a younger, very, very younger. Maybe I was 4 or 5 years old.
You were a young Ladies on Mars.
Yeah, no. I was Jonathan before Ladies on Mars. Ladies on Mars comes a lot of years later. But I remember I saw the video clip of Thriller from Michael Jackson on the TV. And that was my first touch with music. And that video touched me in the first moment that I saw it. So my eyes was very open with that video and say, oh my God, it is amazing. I think that was my first touch with music, with Michael Jackson.
Wow. I love Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Did you start out as a DJ then?
No. I started to producing music before I start to playing music. So I start, all the DJs start first playing music, like DJ, and then making music. Well, I switch that. I start making music first, and 6 years later, I start to play like a DJ.
So you started out as a producer, a music producer, and then you got into DJing, like you were just saying, like some 6 years later.
Yes.
Talk to me about Marshall Jefferson, who is a legend in the world of house music. In 2014, Rolling Stones inducted his track, Move Your Body, in the 20 Best Chicago House Records list. You had a track on Marshall Jefferson's record company, Freakin' 909. How did that come about for you?
Yes. I have not one track only. I have a full release on an EP of 3 tracks. And then I made a remix for them. Was very, very crazy because I sent the demo in the end of 2028, in the end of 28, and I don't think they will reply me. So I will send them. And when I received the reply from the label, I don't remember the guy who replied me, but it wasn't Marshall Jefferson. Was other guy I don't remember the name. He told me that he loves the track and that he wants to release it as an EP. So for me, it was, oh my God. So I think I was, how to say, I'm searching for the word, champion on, on the place on my house. Mm-hmm. Because I was very, very excited, very happy about that.
Mm. I would think so, yes.
Yes. And I never believed that I can release a track or an album or an EP on the Marshall Jefferson record label. That was very crazy for me.
Mm-hmm. Your debut record, 2020's Boogie on Time, spent a number of weeks on various DJ sites. How does it feel having your debut record be a hit, essentially, on these DJ sites?
Yes, well, it was difficult to explain. It's difficult to explain my emotion, but I feel a lot of happiness, butterflies in the stomach. For the first time in so long, the world was beginning to discover my music and discover me. And now, and in that moment, I know that people like my music. So I think it was the first time that I feel that the people like my music, and know that someone is listening to me.
Mm-hmm. Someone hears you.
Yes.
Yeah, and they like what they hear.
Exactly. Yes.
I have to ask, the name Ladies on Mars. What is the story behind this name?
Well, I'm gay, and I always feel different from when I was younger, when I was a kid. I think when I was young, I don't like to play soccer, like other boys. Mm-hmm. I always be sentimental and likes more the arts and music. I always draw, sometimes I wake up. I wake up at 7 a.m. on Saturday to only draw. That was me. And so when I'm looking for a name that identifies me as who I am as a person and artist at the same time, I was thinking about where we are from. Everybody say that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm not only a man. I'm not only a woman. For me, a gay is a mixture of men's feelings and women's feelings. So I thought, a gay man, where will be from? What he will be from. So I think it's like a lady who is from Venus, but on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a woman on Mars. So I choose ladies because I like the sound of the ladies, and it's more chic, the name.
Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Steve Grand. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
So there's a new Donna Summer album that's out that you are intimately involved with. So here's the question. When did you first get turned on to Donna Summer's music?
Well, the first time I listened to Donna was when I was at the high school, I think so.
In high school?
Yes, in high school. But I saw the movie Flashdance with my sister, Natalia. And the first track I listened was Romeo,
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first track from Donna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's a great movie, by the way.
It's an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And the music and everything, the dancers and, and I thought I was something like 12 years old or 11. I don't remember exactly. But I was very younger. And me and my sister listen music on movies because on my house, my mom and my dad don't listen to much music. So I was the first one who buy a jukebox to play music.
A jukebox, yes.
Yes. So,
mm-hmm.
So for us was a little different from other families because we don't listen to much music.
And Romeo was your introduction to Donna Summer.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, of course.
Interesting.
Yes, and it's weird because I remix it.
So, Donna Summer, I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored. This is the new record, the new album that's out now. How did you get involved in this project originally? Talk to me about this, how you got involved in this.
Wow, that's thanks to the lockdown. Thanks to the lockdown, I start to making reworks because, DJs can go out to play. So events are canceled, gigs are canceled. So, I decided to make my reworks in the lockdown, and I think I make a little noise in Europe, in other countries, and a guy from Netherlands named Casper Jansen contact me because he said that he loves my reworks and he wants to contract me to hire me for to make remixes for his music.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the beginning or a little friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if 2 or 3 months later, he told me in an email how wonderful will be if I can make an official remix for Donna Summer. And I said, oh, that would be fantastic. And then he told me, well, I'm a very fan of Michael Naidoo from Demon Music. who is preparing the next Donna Summer album, and he told me I can talk with him and tell him how amazing are your music, and to consider you for this project. Of course, I said, please, will be great, and for me it was very, very sweet from Casper, because nobody made that before, for me. It was very lovely from Casper to introduce me to Michael. Well, that's the beginning of my work, my remixes for Donna Summer.
So how did you end up deciding what tracks that you would produce on this new Donna Summer I'm a Rainbow release?
Well, this was Michael decided to every producer decide which track wants to or would like to remix. So I remember that Michael sent me an email introducing me the project and asking me if I want to participate in this beautiful project. Of course, I say yes. And then I remember the second mail was, okay, I will send you the original album so you can listen to and choose one track you would like to remix. That was the idea of Michael. And I remember I listened the full album, I don't remember, 4 or 5 times. But in the first time I listened to, I fall in love with Brooklyn, And when I start to listen Brooklyn, I just saw in the future in the club, a track in the club, something more with more dance beats. That was my first thought on Brooklyn.
So Donna Summer I'm a Rainbow was originally recorded in 1981. It was shelved by her then record company, Geffen Records, but it was released on CD in 1996. You ended up producing 5 tracks on I'm a Rainbow, Recovered, and Recoloured. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, Brooklyn, Romeo, Where You Saw Back When You Were a Kid in Flashdance, Highway Runner, and Leave Me Alone. I want to talk about 2 of the tracks in particular. Let's start with Leave Me Alone. To me, it seems like there are 2 different musical styles in one song. For me, the verses seem very Eurodisco, and the chorus is more house. To my ears, that's what I get from that one particular song.
You have great ears.
Well, talk to me about how you approached producing the song then. How did you approach it?
Well, the original track was more like a rock track. So, now I'm a new disco producer, so I try to bring the track to the disco sound, disco style. And I like the idea that the chorus have a piano, like a 90s house style, And I think that will be great for the new version of this track, Leave Me Alone. So for that reason, in the chorus have a piano, a 90s piano that brings me to the 90s era, and I think I like the way that it sounds. No, it's I don't know. It's more the sound. It sounds more like the sound of today.
And the verses? Did you put more of an 80s bent to it?
No, my first idea was to give it a more 70s disco sound, but the original track was very 80s. So I tried to leave some 80s sound.
Hi, I'm Keegan Hurst, former professional rugby player, coach, raving homosexual, and you're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
The other track, and you were talking about this because this was the first track that stuck out to you, that you said you wanted to essentially remix and produce, Brooklyn. Talk to me about how you chose to approach your version, essentially, of this track, because it's faster than the original.
Yes, I know. It's more faster than the original. The first time I listened to Brooklyn, I fall in love of the bass. Had an amazing bass line, and that motivated me to make a dance version. Because I listened to it in my mind that can be a great dance mid-tempo song. So that was my first idea on Brooklyn, but I was afraid that Bruce Sweden don't like the idea to make it more danceable. But thanks God, Bruce loved it. So,
Bruce Sedano?
Yes, Bruce Sedano.
Yeah, Donna's husband.
Exactly, yes.
So did he approve of everyone's remixes then?
Yes.
You've performed at Gay Pride in Buenos Aires to a crowd of what, like 100,000 people, a sea of humanity in front of you. What was that experience like for you? That's a big crowd.
From another planet. Yes, from another planet.
A lot of ladies on Mars there.
yeah, a lot of. And boys on Venus too. I don't know a man who goes to the Gay Pride. Normally, I don't go because I think you can be proud of yourself with others the different way. I'm proud of myself with my music, with the person I am, with how I express myself, and I don't need a march for that. But I think it's you need to be proud of yourself every day, in every moment, and you don't need a pride or say, "Hey, I'm here." I don't need that. So, but in that case, a company called me and they told me that they want to play in the Gay Pride. Of course, I say yes, and I never thought that was so many people there. So I never thought, I never expect too many people. So for me it was, wow. So, and I play disco and I play house, and for me it was amazing because people was dancing and singing with my music, with disco music, and Argentina is not too much for the disco. It's more techno, it's more progressive.
Really?
It's more cumbia. Yes,
Okay.
it's not disco here.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to play here.
Mm. And 2022, what's coming up for you in 2022?
Well, some remixes I'm working with Dennis, and some official remix for Desi LaRue. I make some other remixes that I can talk about that I hope that can be released officially in the next year. And continue working with my label, Feverworld, and my radio show, Feverworld 2. Maybe a gig, a tour in England. Talking up with my agent Karen from the Codance Agency from the next year, maybe a tour in Ibiza, Europe, that kind of things. But everything depends on the lockdown. If we have another lockdown, I don't know. Nobody knows that. But I hope so that this pandemic ends soon and we can back to the normal life again.
How has it been there where you are in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, during the lockdown and the pandemic?
Oh, it was crazy because we had the longer lockdown in the world, so it was very hard, and the government don't do it well. The president said, don't go out, don't make parties, don't make celebration with families. And at the same time, the president is making celebration with his families and other people. So people was very angry about that. But my boyfriend lost his job. So it was very difficult because with my music, I need to pay my bills, and I don't have gigs, so I only can make music. That's only I can do. So it was a little difficult, but now, thank God, now it's more open. I have gigs. In the end of December, I will go to Uruguay to play for Head Candy. Will be my first gig, international gig in 2 years. So I'm very excited and a little nervous about that.
And now that this record is out, I'm a Rainbow, Recovered, and Recolored, how do you feel now that it's out there in the world?
I can't describe in words. It's I'm very, very happy, but happiness is not enough to explain how I feel. Mm-hmm. It's more than happy, It's incredible. It's my dream come true because Donna Summer. I grew up with the music from Donna Summer, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, Madonna, that kind of artist. So for me, it's, wow, I'm part of her history now.
Yes.
That is incredible.
Amazing. Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have to say thank you so much for your time, for your energy, and for some great, great music on Donna Summer's I'm a Rainbow. Thank you, Ladies on Mars.
Thank you so much, Mark Tara, for the invitation. I'm so sorry for my bad English. I'm studying. I'm improving with my English.
You were perfect.
No.
You were perfect.
I promise for the next interview, my English will improve more. Okay.
If you insist. Okay.
Thank you so much. And send you a big love from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Oh, thank you. Big hugs from Toronto, Canada.
Thank you.
For all things ladies, check out Jonathan's website, ladiesonmars.com.
Hi, I'm writer Adam Smith, author of Deep Sniff, A History of Poppers and Queer Futures. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
So at the beginning of this special episode, I mentioned that chronologically, I'm a Rainbow falls between the albums 1980's The Wanderer and 1982's self-titled album, Donna Summer, produced by Quincy Jones. Well, here's a clip from a 1982 interview from the Paste Vault, where Donna talks about working with Quincy Jones, but pay special attention, because it's a short clip, to when Donna starts talking about her creativity going in a particular direction that her record company didn't like.
Well, I guess we got to a point, Giorgio and I, where our creativity had come to a point where we all felt that we were going in a particular direction. That direction, unfortunately, was not the direction that my record company liked. And so we kept tending to go in that direction, and we recorded a series of songs and spent a fortune in the studio. And they still weren't pleased with what we were coming up with. So it was, I mean, you can't give a company something that they don't want to push. You know, I mean, that's obvious that if they're not happy, you're not going to be happy with the results of what they're out there to do. And so as a result, we got in touch with Quincy, and he consented eventually to do the album. He found the right, you know, for some reason he had the time. And we decided to do it with Quincy because we felt he, first of all, had a lot more R&B bass. And just there was another side, a different color. And to try it for a change, you know. I don't feel that I will never work with Giorgio again. I love Giorgio. We're like brother and sister, you know.
A pretty interesting clip. So, this is a little gay radio show that airs across Canada from coast to coast to coast. Up next is a really short clip from a 2006 Canadian interview from City News, where Donna talks about her Canadian connection.
I love Toronto. My grandparents are Canadian. Yep, they're both from Nova Scotia. Grandmother and my grandfather are both from Nova Scotia. So they're, you know, on my mother's side, my mother's first generation American. I have a little history with you, sweetie.
Hi, I'm Garrett Conley, author of Boy Erased, a memoir. You're listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.
And just like that, this little gay journey through Rainbow Country has come to an end. Donna Summer's I'm a Rainbow, Recovered and Recolored is out now wherever you get your favorite music. Streaming, digital downloads, and vinyl. To keep up to date with the show, make sure you follow me on socials at Mark Tara Music. The podcast is available on all major platforms, including audible.com. And finally, I want to take this time to thank you for taking your time to be with me. Remember, stay well and stay safe.
Hi, this is Michael Anthony Alago, music executive, photographer, author, and you are listening to Rainbow Country with Mark Tara.